Paul McBeth, a man who many would consider to be the greatest of all time, good old P. McB, has just come out with his newest disc, a mid-range with the name of the Malita. Has the numbers 5.5, -1.1. What's interesting about this is that Discraft already has a pretty loaded mid-range lineup. We're going to be throwing the Malita all over the course today, seeing if it's truly the straight flying mid-range that's marketed to be. Should be a fun time, so let's jump into it. Starting out on a shorty, 160 foot, par 3, all uphill, so it plays a teensy bit longer than that. Basket straight ahead. Ooh, look at that. Really straight flight on that. Luckily we hit that tree, should keep us inside circle one. Otherwise we were about to go way deep. And now we got a nice flat straight shot for the Malita. Got to make this gap in the trees, probably about 200 feet off the tee pad. Drifted a little bit to the right. I don't know how long the hole is. It's not in the tee sign. I assume a little bit over 200 feet. Oh yeah, there's that drift. Woo! Went past the basket, but that was nice and straight with a little bit of turn throughout pretty much the whole flight. Not an aggressive turn that wanted to just dive bomb to the right, but enough to just drift. Also, it was autumn for all of 10 minutes in Missouri, and now it's 100 degrees again, which is why I am 2 holes deep and literally soaking wet. So buckle up. 265 foot par 3, but holy cow, is this the furthest 265 foot hole? Because if you throw it low at all, you hit that stone wall, fall into a creek. You got to give this a little bit of juice, a little bit of height, get over that rock wall, and hopefully park it. Yeah, look at that under stability. That is nice. Coming back just a little bit, that's going to be parked. Literally under the basket, maybe skipped up a little bit past the basket, but that is a beauty. This is just out of the box, a little bit flippier than your average -1 disc. Like definitely flippier than the Buzzz out of the box. ESP or Z Buzzz, those are definitely gonna be more overstable than this right off the bat. I mean, it don't get closer than that unless we're in the basket, but you can't ask for more than parked. 255 foot basket straight ahead, downhill. We're also going to bust out the Malta to compare to the Malita. Now again, Malta is being marketed as an overstable mid-range, so it's more of a complement to the Malita and vice versa. Not supposed to be similar, supposed to go together. Overstable, neutral. Great for the bag, especially if you're a Paul McBeth fan. But let's start with Malita. A little bit of hyzer. Ooh, flips up just a little bit and holds. That is beautiful. Had we not banked off those leaves, we would literally be 200 feet past that basket. That thing was cooking down there. Let's try to do a similar line, a little bit of hyzer with the Malta. Way more overstable. You see that? You see that hooking fade, aggressive, big skip to the left. Now a couple details about the Malita that I have not divulged yet. This one is 174 grams. It is in the ESP plastic. It is the prototype. ESP, that's their bog standard plastic. It's a lot like Star. A lot of people don't love ESP. I don't mind it. I think it's fine. 255 foot straight shot. There is a creek right in front of the basket, so we got to give this a little bit of height to make sure we're going to get across the creek. Oh, that's got a lot of turn on it, actually. Look at that. I mean, my Hex, for instance, Hex is my straight mid-range right now. Even if I give the Hex some juice, I yam it, put some mustard on it, however you want to say it, gets just a little baby amount of turn, but I never see that kind of turn out of my Hex, for instance. So far, that's reminding me so much of the Buzzz SS, which has -2 turn. This is like the Paul McBeth Buzzz SS, which is not a bad thing. Love the Buzzz SS. Compare that to the Malta again. I didn't say before, this is the big Z Malta. Enormous Z. No turn whatsoever, wants to fight out, get overstable. We hit the tree, drop down before the creek, and the Malita nestled up in a not good at all spot. Definitely not gonna sugarcoat that. Let me know down below what you're bagging in that slightly understable mid-range slot. Right now, I don't really bag anything in that slot because I got the Hex, which maybe has a little bit of turn, but really not as much as something like this. Then I have the Lobster, which is like my solidly very understable, gonna turn no matter what mid-range. This is somewhere in between, definitely a hyzer flip disc. 204 foot, par 3, straight ahead, it's downhill. We're gonna need kind of a finesse backhand shot, which I will say Discraft describes this disc as being a finesse disc. which immediately in my head raises that alarm bell of this is a disc that they expect to be kind of understable. Oh, I mean, that's a beauty. Did not throw that hard, and you can see that's when you get it to really hold that line. I mean, hitting that tree is so unfortunate because we just rolled way to the right of the basket. But that's just how it goes sometimes. Now I want to try Malta, but we cannot throw the Malta on any line even remotely resembling that and get near the basket. I think we're going to go forehand. I think forehand, a little bit of width to it, have it fade back in, should be pretty good. Oh, we got a little bit of drift on that. I put some wiggle on that, but the tree saves us. Not a clean release from me. At the same time, I feel like the Malta, not quite as overstable as the numbers suggest. +1 turn, 3 fade. You got to be super beefy. It is pretty overstable, but probably not as much as like my Axiom Pyro, for example. Malta, parked. Malita got absolutely brutalized by this tree, thrown over here. Would be in the creek, but everything is bone dry because Missouri is an absolute drought right now. But we're still kind of like edge of circle. Oh, and there we go. We nail it. You love to see it. 240-foot par 3. We got the pond, water all to the left. So if you fluff this, you go left. If you hit a tree, bounce left, you're in big, big trouble. I don't want to lose this disc. I will say I haven't filmed my thumbnail yet, which usually means that I'm about 10 times more likely to lose my disc. But we're going to take that chance. It's a short hole. We just got to hit this gap and not go to the left, and it should be smooth sailing. Put it out kind of to the right, but that could be okay. Fight through. We fought through, and that gives us a nice putt inside of circle. I love how floaty, touchy this disc is. Makes it really easy to manipulate, especially when you got to hit tighter lines like that. For shorter holes like this, it's a great alternative, especially if you're someone who doesn't like throwing putters. You want to throw something with a little bit more rim to it. This will achieve a lot of the same flights in a mid-range disc. Now we got 405-foot par 3 wide open, a little bit of a tailwind, but I really want to see what this flies like if we just let it rip. Give it the juice, see how much turn we get. So a wide open hole, easy to achieve that. Yeah, you see that drift all the way to the right. Great distance too. That's that glide. Like that thing will go really far, I feel like, especially if you hit at the right angle. You really get to see that turn. Now, like I said earlier, and if you've seen my in the bag, Hex is my go-to straight mid-range, so let's compare it to the Hex. Put that one out nice and flat. It's actually, yeah, kind of a similar line. I put that one out more right. So I feel like those are actually probably right next to each other, but slightly different throws. So UDisc clocked us at 355 feet for both the Malita and the Hex. Like I said, they were going to land right next to each other, and they did. They are very similar discs, but despite that, I maintain that the Malita is a little bit more understable out of the box than something like the Hex, which I've been throwing this Hex for like a year and a half, so I would expect this to have a little bit more flip than out of the box. Now let's take a second and talk hand feel. When I first heard that they were coming out with the Malita, I assumed that it would be somewhat similar to the Malta, just because of the similar names that they have. Maybe a situation where they'd have similar hand feels, but different stabilities. The Malta has a few defining characteristics, and first of all is the bead at the bottom of the rim, which is pretty common for overstable mid-ranges. You also have a pretty aggressive concave wing on the Malta. The Malita is actually quite a bit different from that. First of all, you have a beadless profile, which is pretty common for straighter mid-ranges. But that concave wing of the Malta is replaced with a much flatter, straighter angle. Similar to the Malta, has a bit of a shoulder here before it flattens out. The hand feel of the Malita is actually a lot more similar to something like the Buzzz SS, which makes sense because they have similar flight characteristics, similar stabilities. The Malita is also a small diameter mid-range. So when I say diameter, I'm actually talking about the width of the disc, smaller than a lot of other mid-ranges, which I actually find to be quite comfortable. So the Paul McBeth ESP prototype Malita is definitely not exactly what I expected. I'd put the numbers somewhere more like 5.5, -2.1. So pretty close to the numbers that they gave it, but just a tad bit flippier. Again, P McB Buzzz SS is basically what this disc is. Don't think you can really go wrong with either if you're looking for a slightly understable mid-range that still has a little bit of integrity and hookup at the end. Also, if you're just a huge Paul McBeth fan and you've been wanting the whole Paul McBeth line as a bag, then hey, we're one step closer to that. having a low-speed, understable disc to complement the other Paul McBeth discs, I think is actually great. It's a slot that they hadn't filled yet, so I'm glad that they did. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you consider giving it a like and subscribing. We're almost at 3,000. We're knocking on the doorstep. So join the Fajita family. All are welcome here. You can also follow me on Instagram at Flying Fajita Disc Golf or UDisc Community at Flying Fajita. As always, guys, I love you. Take care. I'll see you next time.